Why do I do this to myself? I went down to my local Harley dealer to check out some of the 2020 models. And of course, I did take one for a spin. This is a 2020 Street Glide Special. And the last couple times I've done that, I actually ended up buying a bike. Now, I'm not going to do it this time. I'm very happy with the current bike that I have right now. But I want to introduce you to Lyndon, and he is the General Manager of All-American Harley-Davidson in Hughesville, Maryland. And the guy is super knowledgeable when it comes to anything motorcycle related. And as we were talking, I asked him if he could explain RDRS and the HD Connect. And he said, sure, absolutely, no problem. So I want to thank him for taking the time out of his day. And let me introduce you to Lyndon, who's going to go over all the features, actually, on this bike that I'm riding right now.
Hey, thanks, Colin. This is Lyndon from All-American Harley-Davidson. Thanks for coming down and taking a look at things. So this is a brand new 2020 Street Glide. One of the easy ways to tell the 2020 apart are these new wheels. These are Prodigy wheels. The Prodigy wheel is sort of a spoke design, but you can see this nice, 3D effect on the side. It's a really cool, nice new wheel. And this is something that a lot of people are going to like, this little 90-degree valve stem. A lot of people have been frustrated with the difficulty of getting to those valve stems, and that one's going to make it a little bit easier. But there's a couple of things on the 2020s which are really a big deal this year. And it is RDRS is one of those features. That stands for Reflex Defensive Rider System. And it's an option on the touring motorcycles for 2020. And the way to see whether your bike has this is this TC button. Although they call it RDRS, certainly better known as traction control, and that's what that stands for. And there are a few different features of traction control. It has enhanced ABS. So enhanced ABS, it works similar to ABS on your car, except a motorcycle leans over. So you have these different lateral forces which could cause you trouble if all you're looking for is wheel slip, right? And they've solved this by having a sensor that can tell whether the motorcycle is leaned over and how far leaned over it is. Okay, so in other words, if you're straight up and down and you grab a handful of brake, it's going to give you a lot more brake. It's going to wait until it senses wheel slip to have the ABS kick in. However, if you're leaned over at a pretty severe angle, it knows that. And if you inadvertently grab a handful of brake, it's not going to give you all of that brake. It's going to give you some, but not want to allow the wheels to slip off to the side due to those lateral forces. So hopefully that makes sense. That same sensor also helps with drag torque slip control, right? So that's in common terms, you're riding along and you either chop the throttle or you downshift and dump the clutch with no throttle, and you get a little wheel slip, right? That chirp that'll happen when your rear wheel grabs the torque, but there aren't enough RPMs to match up with your road speed. In that case, this enhanced drag torque slip control will give it a little more juice so that the wheel doesn't slip, okay? And that can be really important if you're heeled over, right? So just like with the enhanced ABS, it's going to behave differently if you're leaned over than if you're straight up and down. There is also a rain mode, which tells the system that the streets are wet and amps everything up a little bit more, right? So prevent that wheel slippage. And that's a great safety feature for an awful lot of people. There's another feature which will come in really handy for certain people who are in fear of getting stuck at a red light at the top of a hill. And for those folks, it can be really a problem as they try to negotiate rolling on the throttle, releasing the brake, and releasing the clutch all at the same time. What this vehicle hold control allows you to do is if you get stuck in that position, you just grab a little squeeze of this front brake and it will hold down the rear caliper and it will keep you there. You can let go of the brake lever, and then once you put it in gear, release the clutch, roll on the throttle, it will release the caliper and you just take away nice and smoothly. Let's say you need to roll back a little bit and you're feeling stuck. No problem. Just give it another squeeze and it will release. So that's going to be a convenience feature for a lot of people. Another thing that comes along with this is tire pressure monitoring system. This has been, I think, legislated in cars since roughly '08, and now it comes into Harley-Davidsons. They've had it on CVOs for a little while, but now they've got it as an option with this Reflex defensive rider system. And that can be a great way to keep up with your tire pressure. It is the single most overlooked maintenance item that we see, and the number of bikes that hit our service department that are more than 20% low is well north of half. So I think these are some great new features, and that's RDRS. Another new technology feature on the 2020 models that is, it actually comes standard on every touring model with the fairing except for the Electroglide standard, is dconnect. It is a device that connects to cellular networks and will allow you to connect to an app on your phone and give you a menu of a lot of different things, so you can see your vehicle's health in a lot of different ways. It'll tell you how many miles are on it. It will tell you the battery charge. This is really cool, right? Because when that battery is below 12.5, you need to get it plugged into a battery tender. If it sits at below 12.5 for any length of time, it actually does harm to the battery. It's telling you what the tire pressure is. It's telling you that your security system is on. It's telling you where the vehicle is. This is in demo mode, so it's not real information. It tells you how much gas you have in the tank. It will tell you when your next service is due, according to Harley's mileage requirements, but also according to time. It'll also tell you how much you've ridden. Did you take a long ride yesterday? Have you ridden it a lot in the last week? It'll tell you yesterday, last week, last month, the last year, whatever. So just a lot of good information. And this is also something that they're using with the live wire, which I think would be really special for people to tell you what your charge is on your vehicle and where a closest charging station is. Basically, you have access to the owner's manual. It's telling you what the optimum setting is for suspension. It'll tell you if you've got any recalls that are outstanding. So a lot of good information. The first year of the subscription is included with your new motorcycle. So it's easy to try it out for a full year and see how it works. So a lot of new technology on these 2020 models. Come on down to All-American Harley-Davidson and take a look at them.